Greetings, people. This is Thunder, and today is the 19th of September, the day after the big referendum vote in Scotland, or the UK, which was a complete farce. I'm going to tell you that right now, right out front. And if it wasn't, boy, the Scots really blew it. Because they've been crying ever since the days of Braveheart, when he got drawn and quartered about independence and being free of England. And those people that's in their blood, that's in their DNA. It was pretty sad, the outcome of that, because I expected that there was going to be a yes vote. Well, not really. Not really, because I was hoping it was going to be a yes vote. Let's put it this way. I was hoping that this would be another straw that broke the camel's back with the EU and all that stuff, because I can't believe that the Scottish people would want to suck the tit of the UK after the way they've treated them. The thing is that there were some observers on the scene, and I read an article today from Russia. I might post that on the Google network here, where it said that they observed that there was no kind of control. In other words, the norms of voting were not there. They were not there, people. And they had counting in these big hangars, and they wouldn't let people near. And the UK was the one that was probably doing the counting. And the UK doesn't want Scotland to split off or secede or be independent. I'm just feeling down the road here. They're going to find out some things. And I don't know if the people that voted yes for independence are really going to sit still for this. If they do, then it's the same thing that's going on in the United States. They're just a bunch of, walking zombies. Or they're scared because if they break off from UK, then the UK threatened all kinds of things and said it was going to be extremely difficult. Well, what isn't? And the UK has treated them like shit. I can't believe this. Voting, in case you didn't know it, doesn't matter. You can go out and vote. And see, that's another thing. The vote was so close near the end there that when voting gets that close, think about it. But the thing is that the voting machines and the people that count the votes and the people that, even in one place they were given them pencils to mark the ballots with, and the people were mistrustful. They said, we'll bring our own pen so you can't erase our vote. So it was already in the wind. And as I say, you have to listen to the wind. This would have been the biggest faux pas, the biggest screw up for UK had this happen, and they couldn't allow it to happen, people. And when you go and vote in America or any place, you go to these machines that are electronically operated. Well, you hear about hacking all the time and changing numbers, and the Fed changes numbers, and they change numbers all the time on the what they're reporting for the GDP. I mean, you don't think they're going to change the numbers on that to make it satisfy whatever way they want it to go? It's really screwed up, people. If anything, they should be flying black flags of mourning in Scotland right now. Now, see, another reason that the UK didn't want this to go down to where people can vote to secede or whatever is because that's exactly what they're blaming the Russians That whole thing with Crimea was about succession, and the whole thing with the Ukrainian people is about succession. And even in the United States and Texas, they're talking about secession. So they can't allow this to catch on. Okay? They can't allow it, the powers to be. They have to fix the elections. And believe me, if you don't think they fix elections, they've been fixing elections ever since 1920, 1800s. But now it's easier because it's all computerized. It's all done behind the scenes. Anybody can get in there and manipulate. They could even hack in. I think these people in Scotland better take a closer look at this. And I think these people in Scotland that voted no for independence got their heads up their ass. I'm just telling you straight out. I think you people that voted no are sheeple. You're being led around. I mean, again, look at the history of the Scots in England. I mean, I'm not entirely up on it, but from all I've read or seen or heard, that the Scottish people always wanted to be independent. And even parts of Northern Ireland, I think, were included in this vote. Now, Ireland? Hello? They hate the British. I have serious doubts about this, okay? And of course, I have serious doubts about voting, period. I mean, it's useless, people. It's an exercise in futility. Because if you wanted independence, you weren't going to get it anyway. You weren't going to get it anyway, not the way things are rigged, things are fixed, things are these new voting machines and the people counting the votes, and who counts the votes, and where do they go, and do people watch over them? Do people stand there like little squirrels watching the nuts? Little squirrels watching the nuts take over. Steal. You think if they don't steal and lie and every other friggin' thing, they're not going to do it in an election? Hello? Again, it goes way back. I mean, election fraud and Chicago and just people, hell. They've done every trick in the book to vote people, even having dead people vote. That's not funny, but they do that. Anyway. You know, you want to see, it's inherent in all of us that we want to see freedom and that we want to see people break free from tyranny. And when you have a chance to do it, you got to do it. You can't bullshit around. You can't cave in, okay? It was either a cave in or a fix. And if it was a cave in, those people should be ashamed of the Scottish people, I'm telling you right now, not the ones that voted yes, but the other ones. Ding dong, wake the fuck up. And that word that I just said, fornicate upon command of the king. Boy, that's fitting, isn't it? That's where it came from. Oh, man. You want to see people free themselves up. You want to see people take their destiny in their own hands. And when something like this happens, even though I didn't expect, you hope. Okay? What I hope is that they do some investigation into this, and that the people that voted yes do some serious investigation into your the balloting procedures and the voting procedures, hell, forget that. Just shoot from the rooftops. I mean, put on your sniper scopes, and because you're never going to get anywhere voting. That's called voting from the rooftops. Get up there with a little Remington bolt action with a scope. Oh man, it's sad. It's really sad. Well, now that I got that out of the way, I wanted to mention something about the weather here. It's cooling down a little, but not much. And you know, the other day when I said a hurricane was coming up the coast, the Baja, and then I felt it that day. I don't know if I told you. I probably did. I think I did. I said there was thunder and lightning and no rain. And when I think back on it, the building that I'm in, I'm on the 11th floor on the coast, and it's like it was creaking. It was going like that, and I was like, "What's that noise?" Well, when I went out today to do a shopping and made my normal stop in the park where I do my Tai Chi and do a little Qigong exercise, a little bit of yoga, a little bit of the meditation, breathing, that type of thing. The 3 big trees that were there, they were cut in half with the wind. I mean, giant pieces of lumber, just splinters all over the place. That little I was hearing was the wind. And the building was swaying a little. I mean, that was a hurricane that I said was abnormal and came up the Baja Peninsula and hit San Diego. Didn't get any rain out of it, but can you imagine that if it did that much damage after it came, 1,000 miles up the coast of Baja? Can you imagine the destruction that it did down there at the tip of Cabo San Lucas that we're not even hearing about? I flew that whole area as a bush pilot when I was younger. I flew from one end of Baja to the other and landed on sandy beaches and dirt strips, and took my lawyer on fishing trips with the judges and landed in place, took my girlfriend with me, landed in places that most people couldn't land because of the crosswinds. Even in normal crosswinds down in Baja, it's hard to land. Can you imagine 125 mile an hour winds coming up that like a freight train? And then when it got here, it was like, well, I noticed that the flag on the building outside, because I can see the city and I can see flags, it was like straight out. Okay, so when you look at a windsock, when you're a pilot, if it's like this, it might be 5 knots, and that 15, and then that's 25 plus if it's straight out. 25 plus, and this is like, woo, the flag was blowing out there straight like, a stud in heat or whatever. I'm telling you, people, and I don't think this weather for California is over yet. I think that we're getting a little break right now. There's some clouds out. But somebody said there's another hurricane coming today, and I go, oh, really? This is just a sign of the times, as the biblical people would say. It's the sign of the times, brother. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Praise Him. I'm just having some fun there. Don't get all hot and bothered. This just goes to show you that, getting back to the original subject, that all this stuff about, it's the divide and conquer thing. Sun Tzu's Art of War. Okay, it's as old, it's thousands of years old. Tactics of the Chinese masters for war. Divide and conquer. Divide the people. Conquer the people. That's how they do it. And Cameron was out there today, I guess, just making all kinds of promises about how it's going to be a kinder, gentler change towards, because the people have decided to stay with the UK. Boy, they friggin' blew it. Just can't get over it. I mean, Cameron out there saying that everything's going to change is like Obama getting out there saying everything's going to change. Change you can believe in. Yeah, you'll believe in it all right when the shit hits the fan. I'm telling you, I'm giving it, looking at the world situation and the financial situation and the way things are going and the lies and just the whole bit with the gold and everything, gold manipulation and manipulation everywhere, and the ISIS thing, which is just like a Hollywood movie. Probably they did the whole thing on a set and are just projecting it, just like they did with bin Laden. That poor guy lived long after he was gone. They had doubles and everything else. And did you know that El-Ziri, or what's his name? It's the second guy in command. God, I even forget his name now. You know who I'm talking about. He works for the CIA. That's a known fact. So that's just like a straw horse, straw man. Just like the capturing of bin Laden was a bunch of bullies. Yeah, let's use a English term, bullies. I don't know, people. You just got to say, frig it, F it. That's what you got to do. What else you going to do? Just sit back and eat your popcorn. Eat your popcorn and watch the show. I give it 6 months before things really start. Just looking at kind of like the weather patterns of society and the weather patterns of the world and the weather. If they prop this thing up after 6 months, I'll be really surprised. And think of what can happen in 6 months in the Ukraine and with the ISIS thing. They're bombing ISIS now, so what? They created ISIS. Now they're going to bomb them? No, what they're going to do is they're going to bomb Syria by accident. They're bound and determined they want to get into Syria to get that pipeline and that Russian base. Russia is not going to have any part of this unless I'm seriously mistaken and Putin's just a pussy. But he ain't. I don't believe he is. Then again, I could be wrong. You never know. It could all be an act to get all the powers to be together to say, okay, we need to do an economic reset and we need to change the... I don't know, though. Like I said before, China and Russia are not predisposed to being told what to do. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in eastern Ukraine. That's going to be the biggie. And This thing in the Middle East, to me, that's a non-starter. It's just a game. It's something to take your mind off of what's really going on. The guys, the walking chop-o-matics. That's what I call them. The guys that supposedly sever heads. The walking chop-o-matics. I got that from a movie called Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer, where he played a blind guy that was a martial artist expert, and he had a cane, a stick, and he pulled a sword out of it. It was a great movie. This guy in there called him the walking chop-o-matic. That's where I got that term. I always borrow terms here, but it seems appropriate that it's all faked. The whole terrorism thing's faked. Like I said before, there is no terrorism in America. You haven't seen any people blowing shit up or strapping bombs to their body, or you haven't seen any of that stuff. Why? The borders are wide open, like I said before, because this is where the globalists live. You know, the days of the real terrorists were back in the 60s when you had Carlos the Jackal. Okay, that was a terrorist, okay? Or that, you know, the IRA sent people in to bomb parts of London. That was terrorism, but it was war also. But that was completely different than the terrorism we have now, which is none at all. It's a boogeyman. The boogeyman's gonna get you. He's gonna come get you. People are so deluded. They might as well read Marvel comic books for all they know. Why is it that some people that didn't go to college, well, I guess I went to college for a while and I got my degrees with aviation and I got my, but why is it that some people that go to college even don't get this? Why? Because they pop out these lunatic zombies. The longer you stay in the system, the longer you believe in it. Because if you don't, you figured you wasted all your time in law school or medical school or whatever school, accounting school, or you figured, oh, I wasted all that time if I don't believe in it, so I better buy into it, except mommy and daddy's the one that wanted you to buy into it, not you. Because if you're going to law school, you ain't paying the bills. People need to go to the school of hard knocks and the school of realization. Okay? That's what they need to do. They need to wake the up and go to the school of hard knocks. That's where you get your degree. The school of realization, the school of hard knocks, the school of putting 2 and 2 together on a mental level. There's just so much negativity out there, you just have to say F it. That's all you got to do. Just say F it. Who cares? It's a lost cause in a way. All I can do is come on here and spout my wisdom. I don't know. You be the judge, but I like to keep people up to date on things and keep people up to par, keep them awake. Do a couple of slap them in the face, throw some cold water. Hey, guess what? There's a shit storm coming. So I guess I'll leave it there today. But this thing with the I just had to talk about this referendum thing because I'm watching that and I'm going, don't even think that this is going to go like it should. F it. Don't even think like this is going to go like it should. It's not. You know? But you never know. I mean, there's always the deal that if somebody discovers that things were fixed or questions that, then there could be giant rioting. You know, or a giant, I don't know though, people are so, I just lost faith in people even realizing that that could be done. They'll hold an iPod in their hand and know that they're being watched by the government and that things could change on their iPod even without them knowing it, hacked into it, and they can hack into cars and airplanes. And God, you don't think they're going to mess with election results if they want it? You know, I mean, they're in charge. Hello? That's why my hope was like, now, I don't know how in Crimea they just did it so fast that they didn't have time to fix it. I think that's what they were pissed off about, the West and NATO, and they just did it so quick, and they had monitors standing right there, the Russians did, to make sure everything was straight. I think that election could have been for real, and I think the election in Ukraine Eastern Ukraine, before they got a chance to jump on that, where they said, hey, we want out of here, that was real too. And so that's what the West was pissed about with that. They didn't get a chance to fix it. I'm going to end this. I'll probably call it Scottish Referendum Fixed or something to that nature, you know. Voting doesn't count. Fixed election or fixed referendum. The Scottish blew it if they really voted. I mean, you don't get a chance like that, doesn't come on along. Of course, the people that were opposing it said, you'll have to wait 50 years to get back under our umbrella. Oh man, this is... I wonder if they have to wait 50 years to have another referendum vote. Can they have that anytime? I don't know. If you guys know, make a comment, let me know. I don't know. Can they just have another referendum vote and say, oh, we didn't like that one? No, they probably have to wait 20 years or something. That's why I say vote from the rooftops, people. Lock and load. That's what they should be doing here. Vote from the rooftops. You've seen that little... If you haven't seen it, it shows a guy with a sniper rifle on a tripod on a rooftop. Says vote from the rooftops. That's the only choice you have if you want to get outside the system of them controlling shit. All right, I'm out of here. This is like, I see my time coming up here. I got my internal alarm on. This is Roger Thunderhands Gilbert, wishing you all happy trails. And I'm out of here. Roger, out.